Coming up at 20 minutes to 8, and it's time now to introduce you to someone we think will go down a treat. He's got his own garden in the grounds of the BBC studios in Plymouth, and every Friday we'll go there to visit him. So here he is, Don Hoyle, the breakfast time gardener.
Welcome to the television garden here in Plymouth, and it's going to be your garden now, BBC breakfast television garden. Any problems you've got, any queries you want answering, you write, you ask me, and if they need translating into action, we'll actually put them into this garden as we've done before. And it's wet, and it's windy, and it's really damp. But I feel all right because I'm outside in the garden, and that's what really matters. But if I look down here and look at this soil, really wet and sticky and stony. And gardeners, well, we won't work on it when it's wet and sticky. But here in the southwest, when it's sandy and free draining, we do know that after about 24 hours, we can actually work on our soil. But up there in Scotland, in the Midlands and the North, I know that in September, that's the end of cultivations. But as a gardener, I know that this stuff in my hand, the stuff I'm going to get on my knees, that's what it's all about. If you look after the soil will look after you. And whether you put the manure on the top as a no-digger, or whether you put the manure in the ground and dig it in, it's going to do good. It's going to put heart in that soil. But we choose the right time to do it. And we'll talk about it over the next few weeks. We'll talk about how to improve this soil. But when I look down here and I see this little bedraggled narcissi, the first flower that we've had in the garden, it's a sign of the spring, something refreshing to come. But here in the grounds of the studios at Plymouth, 3 years ago, we decided to make our own garden. A tiny garden with lots of little tiny demonstration plots to answer problems, just like all the gardens that we find around the country now in estates and council estates and private gardens. Lots of flower beds, lots of flower borders, fruit along the side that doesn't take up a lot of room, and all in tiny plots. The plot's no bigger than 14 feet by 10 feet. And it's been exciting. And it's been interesting, and it's going to be even more so in the future because I want to hear from you. I want to know what you would like to see in a tiny garden. So, the weather, it's bad, and it's wet, and it's mucky, so I've got to give you some work to do inside as well as outside. So I'm going along this little winding natural path of stepping stones to our solar building to see what we can find for you to do inside. Well, I really ought to explain what a solar building is, first of all. And it's a shed, a garden shed, and a greenhouse combined. But the front of the greenhouse is sloping to catch all the light and all the sun. So it's super to grow plants in and store your tools in as well. But the work that I want you to do for the week is to clean all your pots, plastic and earthenware. And it's going to be easy with the plastic ones. Just warm water and a little bit of disinfectant, swish them around and that's done. But the real hard work is with the earthenware pots. And you may have to do some real scrubbing with a wire brush. But there's an easier way than that today. If you go to the garden shop or centre, you can get these little green slime removers, algaecides we call them. Paint them on the surface of the pot, leave it there for 24 hours, and then you can just wash it off with warm water the next day. And if you put it on the pot, new pots and clean pots, before you use them, you won't have any algae at all. But the best part of gardening is you're always looking ahead and planning ahead. You've always got a little bit of colour to come. And what about this? This is my little parsley pot from last year, and I filled it up with good soil compost and crocus. And I'm going to have some real early spring in my little solar building, and I'm going to enjoy myself. So I'll leave you with my crocus and my little pot, and enjoy your gardening.
Enjoy your gardening with Don Hoyle.